Alright, we're going to take a look at the newest design that has just been released called Dang. And we call it Dang because there's so many dang options in this thing. So I've been working on this one for quite some time. There's going to be lots of variations and different combinations that can be made with this one. But let's take a brief look at what these are going to look like, just for a couple little maybe gotchas that might help you as you're setting this thing up. So here's how, for instance, the vertical banner template's going to load up. And again, there's multiple formats of these for kind of like the most common sizes. But this is just the 2:1 ratio here. So within this, you're going to see a lot of typical stuff that you're used to seeing in the designs. Maybe just a couple new things to you, and we'll take a quick look at those. So one of the things to point out here is there's a couple groups here. One is ground options, one is sport options. This is going to be where you're making your combinations for the different sports. So for instance, in the ground options, we can turn this off. We can see we have like a dirt option. If you open the dirt folder, there's actually like some baselines there that you can turn on and off. We have grass. Same with grass, as there's a field line option that can be turned on and off. We have a court here. If we expand the court, we're going to see within this there's a few layers here to turn on and off for bowling. So those can be turned on and off. Here's our water. Here's asphalt and kind of tennis. So you could actually turn off the tennis lines. You could actually change this tennis green to blue if you're using a blue court instead of a green court, or you could turn it off just for a plain asphalt look here. Here's the ice. Within the ice is a hockey graphic and a curling graphic, both of which can be turned on and off. And then we have a matte option here. Within the matte, we're going to see there's like some extra reflections that can be turned on and off. You can change the color of the matte. Again, these color changes are hue saturation adjustment layers. So you could pick on the HSL layer. Sorry. You can come up here to the properties, and you can dial these colors around, how saturated they are, brightness, things like that. And then there's a wrestling graphic, which is basically just the arch line that can be turned off to give that indication of a wrestling mat. So again, all options there that can be turned off and on for those. So let's just go back to our court right here. We'll bring up our court layer. So that's your ground options. And then if we jump down here to the sport options and expand this group here, you're going to see different sport options that are in here. So within each of these are going to be some options as well for some of these. So you have some field lights. If you expand the field lights, you're going to see that you can turn beams on and off. You can turn the lights themselves on and off. So you can customize the look of those. Here we have a fence for your baseball, softball stuff. There is a lighter and a darker fence. So the lighter looks better against a dark background. And of course, the darker looks better against a light background. There's trees here, which is good for cross country. Here's your water splashes here for swim. Hockey goals. And again, these are all separated in here so they could be moved around, resized, however you want to customize those. We got some football goals with the goalpost. So any of these that have like pads and things on them, there's going to be some color change options. So from the football goalpost, for instance, if we look at the right side post here, you can actually change the pad color, which again is a hue saturation adjustment layer. So we could add some color back into this. We could move that color around. And the post color can be changed as well. So we could change that post color to something crazy. You could desaturate it, etc. So you can customize those colors. Basketball goals, again, the pad colors can be changed in here with the hue saturation adjustment layers. Got our volleyball nets, again, pad colors can be changed. Tennis, the post colors can be changed. You can see those here. Got a couple lacrosse goals. The golf flags, there is one little change with the golf flags and how those colors are changing. You can see there's got a note thrown up in here just so you can see. When adjusting the flag color, be sure to switch the channel from master to reds before changing. So this is more of like a universal color change on these flags. So the flags are initially red. So if you turn on the hue saturation adjustment layer, The only thing you need to do to change this flag color is change this from master to reds, and then you can push these to whatever color that you would like them to be. So that's the only one little change there, but again, there's a note there to warn you of that. So here's some smoke, which is good for like dance and cheer. Again, smoke colors in here. These smoke colors actually just changed with solid colored fills. So you could double click, you could pick a new color, and you could customize whatever you want that to be. If you wanted to match the other side, we would just copy this hex value, Command or Control C here. We drop down, change this one, paste that value in. We got a perfect matching color there. There is some AFL goalpost and some netball for our Aussie folks. Again, netball pad colors can be changed. Here's some light flares, which are good for anything else that maybe doesn't fit any of the other genres of the sports. You could throw that option in. Here is our bowling pin option, and we got some field hockey goals in here. So again, between the sport options and the ground options, you can create a host of different combinations and scenarios there. So let's scroll on down here, continue to take a look. We're going to see some text options here. And these are colored because these are kind of grouped together. So your yellows and your greens here. For instance, the inner banner text. So the little arrow graphic in here, that's actually just text layers. And these are smart object text layers. These are actually joined smart objects. So in other words, if we update one, it will update the other. So if we want to make an update to this, let's say instead of those arrows, we're going to double click on the smart object. It's going to open up a new document window. So here you can see this is just a text layer. So we could modify this text layer. So let's double click here. And let's say instead of arrows, we wanted this to be the year. So let's do 2022, and we'll throw a couple spaces in there. What I'm going to do is hit Command or Control A to copy that new text. Command or Control C to copy. I'm just going to hit the End key, and then Command or Control V to paste, 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 paste. We just want to be sure that everything fits within this little canvas right here, as long as nothing's getting cut off. We'll click the check mark to apply that change. We'll close this window. It's going to ask us if we want to save it. I'm going to say yes. And you're going to see that'll update that those arrows, which were just the greater than sign that I made those with our year here. So it's going to update both sides of that. The color is also changed within there too. We'll talk about that in just a second. And then there's the outer banner text over here. So again, if we want to update that, it's going to be the same process as the inner text. So we'll pick one of these layers, double click on the smart object. We can come in here and we can update this text. Let's make it a color just so we can see here. So let's just do like this red color. So we could double click on the text here. Same thing if we wanted to change this. We'll do Cougars in a space. So I'll hit Command or Control A to select everything. Command or Control C to copy. Hit my End key to go to the end of the text. And then paste, paste, paste. I like to do it about 4 and keep that spacing relatively even on both sides of the canvas. I'll show you why here in just a second. Because when we apply this and then close this window, do we want to save it? Yes. You can see it updates the text, but on this one, because the text is flipped 180 degrees on the other side of the canvas, we want to make one slight change to this left side text. So I'm just going to make sure I'm on outer banner text left. I'm going to grab the Move tool with V, and I'm going to use my up arrow key or down arrow key based on what we type in there. And I'm just going to line this back up. And if we want to double check it, we could just pull a ruler down and yep, that's aligned. That looks good. So that's the one little difference from the inner text, is just moving that flip text to line up there. So real quick change. So that's kind of how you would update those text options within there. Now below that is our background box. So if we wanted to change the color of that box, this is just a simple shape layer. So we can double click on the layer. It's going to bring up our color picker. If we wanted to match this red, I could just use the picker tool and match that red. So looks kind of ugly, but we'll clean it up in just a second. I just want to show the options here. So there, actually, you could throw in a couple sky options in here. So we have kind of a brighter sky. Turn this off so we can take a look at it. And we have a darker sky. So just a couple different options, again, just so that you have a host of various looks and styles that you want. And if you wanted to go with a solid color, but a different color, we could go with a white background, like so. Click OK. Of course, you could make it a colored background. I really like the light and the dark look with white and black. So let's drop a subject in here and take a look at a couple things here, a couple options that are in here. We'll turn our background box on for now. We'll just start here and then we'll fix it up as we go. So there's going to be two groups for the subject to go in. So you're going to see one with feet, one for no feet. So you can work either direction here. Let's look at the no feet option simply enough. If we expand this, we'll turn a subject on here. So here's just a subject dropped in, no feet. It's just like a 3/4 view. It's going to place them behind that ground object there. So that's a nice simple way to do that if you're not using feet in your extractions. It's very simply done there. The other group is option with feet. So in that one we can turn on. That one we're going to bring them a little bit smaller, and we're going to be able to put them on that floating ground option platform there. So a group with feet, group without feet, that's how those two are behaving differently there. So here's our group with the feet. And so if we have a subject in, so let's say we wanted to quickly start to match things up here. We already made the background banner red, so we can kind of keep that for now. But for instance, our volleyball posts need to be changed. So let's collapse our subject a second. We'll come down to our sport options. We'll open up our volleyball net. We'll go into our pad color here. And we want to make this red to match, so we'll slide this all the way to red. Maybe a little more saturation, maybe a little more lightness. So I'm just going to grab those values, which is 0, 40, minus 21. I'm going to copy them down to this other side. So that's going to be 0, 40, minus 21. So that's going to give me the same value as the other side, so that fixes that. We can come, again, our text is just normal text layers, so we could come through, maybe we want to make this white. Let's make the last name white. And then our inner banner here on the year. Again, we could go with a year. We could go back to the look of the greater than sign. I'm just holding that down and typing in. We'll apply this. Let's make this white as well. We can close this window. Do want to save. And you're going to see this is, it calls this Smart Object Nights because that's the original name I had in there. You can just kind of ignore that. Just click yes to save it. And that's going to update that graphic as well. So you can see it's very quick to match your subject colors up. Pretty quick to do all of that, and looks really nice when everything starts to match together there. So I want to point out one more thing with the subject to pay attention to on this one. So we're going to open this folder that's called With the Feet, and this one is specifically for swimmers. If you're using this for swim and with the water. So let's turn our volleyball subject off, and you're going to see within this group is another group called Swimming Subject here. So let's expand this, and this is where you would drop in your swimmer. So let's throw our swimmer in, and you're going to see right off the bat what's happening here is there's some effect getting applied to their feet. So let's turn on our swim options so we can really see what's happening. We'll collapse this for a second. So in the ground options, we'll turn the court off. Let's turn the water on. And then we can actually change this background back to black. That way on our sport options, we can turn volleyball off and turn the water on, and we can see what that effect would look like. So with our swim subject, let's expand our swim subject. Okay, that's expanded. Our subject's turned on. So what you're going to see is when your subject's dropped in, there's a couple layers clipped here. And if I move the subject around, you can see what's happening. As they fall within a range of where that water would be, it's just applying some coloring effect and a little bit of desaturation and darkening effect to apply that look that the feet are actually in the water here. So that's going to be pre-applied but you just need to be sure your swim subjects, or any that you're using with that water effect, are dropped within the swimming subject here within this subject group with feet. Again, you can expand all this, you can play with it and see all of those options. But that, in a nutshell, is a lot of the options that fall within this design. So we're going to finish with one little tweak here, which is specifically, again, with the swimmers, but for the team option. So let's jump over here to the team layout. So on the team one, we're going to expand our subject group, and we're going to see the same group here, swim subjects here. Okay, same idea. There's only one little difference for the team. So I'm going to expand this. Let's turn a group of swimmers on. Now for the group, the feet effect is not getting automatically applied. And that is because you're going to have multiple subjects that are typically going to be on multiple different ground planes. So some feet will be higher than others and lower than others, so it's more difficult to just automatically apply that effect. But it is very simple in the sense that those effect layers are already added here to our swim subject group. We just simply need to paint that effect in. So I'm just going to select the first layer here and select the mask. I'm going to grab a white brush. I'm just going to leave my flow at 100 to make it quick. And I'm just going to quickly paint that effect over the feet. So that first one, again, is that darkening and desaturation contrast effect there. And then the second one is just that color effect. So again, I'm going to make sure the mask is selected, and with a white brush, I'll paint over where I want that to show up on their feet. So maybe on the people who are pushed back, we can come just a little bit higher to their ankles. And then on the front, they wouldn't have to go as high. So it's just a couple quick little brush strokes to apply that to your team. And if you have a team with lots of varying, some people are further back than others, this is just a quick little tool so that you can customize that look of that feet effect to make them look like they're in the water there. So that is an overall look at the new design, some of the options. Try and make it very quick so you can get on about throwing your subjects in and using this design and putting it to good use, and hopefully making lots of money using it in the process.